The final thing, and this is not going to be a total deep dive because I think this warrants multiple, deeper looks at the quote manosphere. But I want to give everybody an overview of what this is because it's been popping up in my news feeds everywhere. I've been watching debates, I've been watching videos, I've been watching it on TikTok, I've seen it everywhere. And because even the shirt that I'm wearing right now kind of falls under some of this rise and grind cultural, I don't even know like what zeitgeist maybe. This is David Goggins, so take that for what it is. But this is a balance that I want to push back against, and I want to identify so that we as, this is an online show. This might sound hyper online, but it's not, because I'm telling you it's infecting young men especially. And if it's infecting young men, then we have to identify it as a problem moving forward, because we can't just isolate like a huge giant gap of people, especially young men, I think, when they are feeling isolated already. That's how they fall into the hands of Jordan Peterson. That's how they fall into the hands of Shapiro's and Crowders and all these people that are online. The manosphere, and I will read this from the wiki because it's a loose definition, is a collection of websites, blogs, and online forums promoting to varying degrees masculinity, misogyny, and opposition to feminism. Communities within the manosphere include men's rights activists, incels, men going their own way or MGTOW, pickup artists, and fathers' rights groups. So, and yes, Jordan, you are right. It's affecting women, but I'm saying it's infecting men. So I will get to my perspective on why it's affecting women, but it's infecting men. Because this group, and I will say that this is largely impacted by a man named Andrew Tate, which you can go and look him up. He's recently been banned from TikTok. Yes, and it would be affect, not effect, but fair enough. This is the type of man that highlights himself as a somewhat godly man while also simultaneously womanizing and degrading females, talking about how this is a more consistent thing, that out of one side of these folks' mouths, they want people, and I should say they want women that are, and again, this is not what I believe, so just so that we're clear here, but out of one side of their mouth, they say they want a woman that's submissive, that is loyal to them, specifically, monogamous. And then the other side of their mouth, they want 20 women all at the same time. They want them to look a specific way. They want them to, do whatever they say, not just like, they almost want them to also be exclusive to the one man too. They don't want them to go make their own money. They don't want them to have their own careers. They don't want them to be successful in their own right. They don't want them to be in the driver's seat of controlling a relationship or being in equal footing as a relationship. They are looking to control the narrative. And this is where the baked-in misogyny is. And it's incumbent upon someone like me, I think, to push back, because there's another guy on here, and my experience with a lot of these people are very specific. You have the quote, and it sounds silly when I'm talking it this way, like the men's rights activists and the MGTOWs are these people that are like super online, and they're like very locked into specific ideologies that are hard to break. They're hard to break because they're not based in full logic. There are sometimes grains of like, okay, men sometimes are treated poorly in, let's just say, divorce cases. Or disproportionately, and this is a fact, men, or not, maybe not disproportionately, but men make up the largest portion of people in prison. Now, again, it's not disproportionate because men commit the most violent crime, but there are these qualms that say like, okay, maybe there's some things that we should listen to here. Engaging in mental health practices, engaging in healthy, the healthy ability to reflect and grow as a man includes masculinity. Although let's also remind ourselves that like that's a loose term too, but masculine, the masculine nature can be used for good. It can be used to create drive. It can be used to, this is a simplistic form of looking at it, but it can be used to create testosterone, which is used to create muscle. I mean, I'm one of those people that's very into like lifting weights and doing this stuff where it's like, okay, it's not inherently masculine to lift weights, but having that certain like, ooh, like bang on my chest gorilla thing, like there's an okay time for that. There's a time and a place for competition, which again is labeled as masculine, but it's not necessarily. But the things that fall under that, what these guys are selling you online, and again, we will come back to this at some point again. I will have specifics, I will have videos, and I will have dissections of this because I think it's important. But I just want to lay the groundwork because this is going to be a long discussion over. This is like the new anti-SJW arc that these people are on. They're trying to rebuild like the ideal man, but the ideal man in their eyes is a flawed man in most people's actual, like in reality. These are people that are trying to sell you crypto schemes, get rich quick schemes. They're trying to sell you bullshit. They're trying to get you to sign up for classes that aren't going to actually help you. They're going to try to get you to pick up women that like are then these classes are going to help you manipulate and do all this stuff. So it's all nonsense. It's all used to just dig in and put like a wedge where there's already potential harm that has already been done. Because it's important to note, just because like we don't talk about it very often, the white male, the older white male suicidality has been going up. You look at college graduation, it's going down, especially in comparison to women. These are things that in isolation can be taken to an extreme. So when we talk about intersectionality, it's talking about, okay, we're going to fight for people of different genders. We're going to fight for people of different races, different religions. But it's not to fully discount the problems that people have that white men might have. And that might be not what everyone wants to hear. But it's important. Because if you want to build a bridge, you want to be like, here's the handout to build something stronger, you need to listen to everybody's problems and try to engage with them. Now, if their problem is, well, I don't like that person over there because they're a different color than me, that's unacceptable. If they say because, I want to subjugate women to be second-class citizens, it's unacceptable. But the way you beat them to the punch, basically, and I mean beat the scam artists to the people that you can connect with, is by providing them a logical and reasonable answer to the problems that they have. We talk about older white men that were sucked into the Trump, sphere. Some of these people voted for Obama. Some of these people were Democrats. They fall into this ability this trap. Some of them for the reasons that we highlighted, the bad reasons, but some of them because they just feel like they haven't been heard. That, in and of itself, sometimes is a fair thing to say. Now, the solution that they're jumping to is not. But sometimes people that feel unheard, sometimes people that feel like they've been left and cast aside, you take, like, the stereotypical, you take a coal miner from West Virginia, they might not care that we care about the climate, that we care about, and I don't mean that they don't care about the planet, but they might be out of a job. So myopically, they see, okay, Donald Trump is talking about giving me, a coal miner, back my coal mining job. That's what me and my grandfather and my grandfather before him did. That's the type of thing that we need to be able to speak to, listen to, and stop at the source, the pathway that leads someone down this manosphere or the red pill that is the right wing now. It's beneficial across the board to do it that way. I think that it requires more of a dive on the specifics of these people as they continue to grow, but we've seen it with Jordan Peterson and people falling into his hands. Now that guy has turned into a freak. I mean, that's probably the simplest way of putting it, frankly. Freaking out, eating just all beef diets, dying almost from apple cider. So he kind of seems like a weirdo now. So they moved on to the Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter or whatever he did that, like, Andrew Tate does, that he was this boxer, this kickboxer, whatever he did. I forget which MMA form he did. But because he's a tough guy, he does this, he has all these women, he has these nice cars. This is like they're trying to tap into that primal testosterone bit. So again, this is why understanding toxic masculinity and good masculinity and understanding where these things balance in each other. It just in the same way that femininity can be good and it can be used to manipulate. All of this stuff is good in balance. That's why we need people of all different genders, all different races, all different religions, and all different skin colors living in harmony and together, building off of each other, experiencing each other's relationships, because that is the melting pot of America. I guess that's the theme of today. That's the American dream. Obviously, I didn't dive, like waist deep into some of this stuff. We will eventually come back to this stuff, but I want to throw it on people's radars because the same way I will say, and I'm not tooting my own horn here, but in 2020, leading into 2021, talking about the winter of 2020, so like March, April, May, I was telling people, hey, school boards are going to be the big thing coming up in 2021. Hey, critical race theory is going to be the big thing. This was coming into the 2021 election. This like form of men's rights activism and this red pill stuff is the new form of the online right. This is the new version, and it's going more mainstream. It's the way that like Shapiro and Crowder have gotten to the mainstream. This is the way that these people are going to get their ideas into the mainstream. So take it seriously. Be willing and able to engage, and if you don't know how to, listen to it, record it, and just go and research, or go and ask somebody. Go and ask me. Go and ask somebody else. Because it's worth at least trying to debunk these things at the get-go so that you can engage with somebody on the factual level and maybe win them over. Or maybe just stop them from going down that path. Jordan, I don't think that anyone's not You said that I don't think anyone is arguing that it isn't an upcoming issue. It's not that it's not an upcoming issue. It's that people don't see it coming. Maybe us as, young people that are online, we see it. We know. But the 45-year-old, the 50-year-old, the 65-year-old, they have no clue. Some of them don't even turn on Twitter or Facebook and YouTube. Now, there's plenty of people that do, but there are those people that they get their news from Facebook. And they're gonna come across this Facebook video of this guy talking about this stuff, and that might tap into something, or there's kids or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. It wasn't like people didn't listen to me. People just ignored it. They said, okay, yeah, you're right, Connor. Yeah, school boards, whatever you say. And that's in local organizing. Maybe in other places they listened. Maybe they all knew and they knew how to react. I told them way in advance, and I'm just saying it now. I mean, I think we all are in agreement that it is an issue that's coming up. But it's important to bring up to the folks that might not know what the hell we're talking about. Hey, this exists over here, and it's coming to the mainstream.